My name is Kelly Park Bruckner, and I'm the program coordinator for the Environmental Education Association for Illinois. And I'm going to start us off. So first, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We hope that this is educational, informative, and fun. So the agenda for today and what I'm going to talk to everyone about is we're going to introduce ourselves. And beyond that, most of the conference, everybody's going to be on mute, just to be respectful. And then we can all come off mute when you need to speak. I'm going to go over the overview of the mini conference and what the goals we hope to accomplish. We'll talk a little bit about our sponsors. We're going to have raffle prizes every day. And we'll go over the Moodle a little bit, and then we will have one activity share that we're going to do on Saturday. So one thing for homework, and then we're going to explore the guide. So I'll walk you through the guide so that you understand how it's all laid out. Today, I'll talk, and like I said, I'll do the welcome and introductions. Then Abby Unland, our Executive Director of the Environmental Education Association of Illinois, is going to talk to us about the Environmental Education Association of Illinois plus EL for IL, which is Environmental Literacy for Illinois. Then next will be Carly Tuminello. She's the director of the Jurikosuke Nature Museum, and she's going to lead us in one of the early childhood activity that is available through the guide. So for the introductions, first I want to say thank you to my partners and the people who are helping put this conference on, which is Carly, and Abby is available tonight. There are two other people, and they will be joining us Thursday and Saturday. And first, we're going to say, we're going to have everybody introduce yourselves. So how we're going to do it is you're going to give your name, your affiliation, and what you're looking forward to at the conference. And then you're going to pass it to someone else. So I'll go first. My name is Kelly Park Buckner. I've said that before. I work for the Environmental Education Association of Illinois. I'm really looking forward to connecting people together and offering resources that I don't think people realize or that are available through Project Learning Tree, like early childhood, the activity guide. And I'm going to pass it to Abby.
Hello, everyone. Abby Unland here. I'm also with EEAI. I'm the executive director of the association, and I am so excited to have you all here this evening. I don't get to stick around for the whole workshop, but I'm excited to help kick it off and share a little bit with you all about this new state initiative that we've been working on, EL for IL, and kind of a little bit about that project. So I will pass it to Carly.
Hi, I am Carly Tuminello. I'm the director curator of the Jurikosuke Nature Museum, which is on campus at Benedictine University in Lisle, Illinois. I am also a Project Learning Tree facilitator, and I'm very excited to share with you one of my favorite activities, the Shape of Things, and we'll go through a couple ways to kind of adapt that to your outdoor learning as well. I'm looking forward to the whole conference. It should be really, really fun. I hope you all enjoy it. I am going to pass it to Jen Berman.
Sorry, I had to unmute real quick. All right, I'm Jen Berman. I am the preschool program coordinator at Ann Springs Close Greenway in Fort Mill, South Carolina. And I guess what I'm looking forward to is just learning more resources and just always expanding my knowledge in environmental education and nature-based learning. So is that everything I need to answer? All right, I will pass it to Kathleen.
Okay, I am Kathy Manfredi, and I live in Southern Illinois. I finished my Master Naturalist training this last spring, and I'm working on hours. I have been a teacher for the last 30 years and have always loved science and teaching, even though my music was what I taught. Still, I've always worked science and other different disciplines as part of my music programs. And as I said, I've liked science all my life. I've been a Boy Scout leader. I've been a youth group leader, and we always did things outside so that we could learn how we were part of this, how we all meshed together. And I'm looking forward to learning different techniques and maybe developing some specific lessons so that as a master naturalist, I'll be able to work with young people and provide programs for them that they find interesting and challenging and help spark that little bit of curiosity. I also have 3 very young grandchildren, and I'm looking forward to taking them to various places around the world and sharing that with them. And I'm going to pass that to the other Kathy.
Hi, my name's Kathy Canessa, and I'm from Paris, Ontario, which is in Canada. I'm a Montessori teacher, and we, because of COVID, have really pivoted and started a really great outdoor program. So I'm just looking for new inspiration to enrich my outdoor program. I've been a Girl Guide leader and a Boy Scout leader for many, many years. And I think by having a generation love our outdoors, they will in turn take care of it when they're older.
Kathy, you got to pass it.
I just realized that, sorry. Marissa?
Hi, I'm Marissa. I work at Plum Creek Nature Center for the Forest Preserve District of Will County. I'm currently a facility office manager, so I hope to eventually move up into a naturalist role. And I'm also an aspiring author I would like to write for children, but also adults as well, but definitely for children. And I'm considering starting a YouTube channel based on environmental lessons. I think everybody that's on my list has already talked. Guess I'll pass it to Angelica.
Hi, my name is Angelica. I'm a Montessori teacher also. I'm just looking forward to learning different things, and we do a lot of outside curriculum and educational things too, so I just want to get some inspiration and just looking forward to getting a lot of ideas. So I guess I'll pass it to Joy Jet. I guess I'm not sure if that person has talked already.
No, I'm Joy. Sorry, my husband is Jet. I forgot to change my name. Thank you. I am a master naturalist trainee, also like Kathleen. And then I also work with kids at a nature homeschool co-school, she calls it. So I am just looking forward to getting some ideas that I can use to work with the kids. And I have always been a nature lover since I was a kid. So I'm excited to learn about this organization, which I didn't know about until I saw it on the Facebook Master Naturalist group. So thank you. Ooh. And I'm sorry, I have my puppy and he's biting me. Sorry, has Mary gone yet?
No, I haven't, thank you. I was eating my dinner, which is why I did not have my video on. I apologize if I think I'm going to eat my dinner, but no, I don't get home from the office until 5:30. Kind of a rush for me to get to the meeting. My name is Mary Nelson. I am an A&R program coordinator with the University of Illinois Extension in Whiteside County. I am looking forward to learning some more ideas to share with my master naturalists and master garden volunteers to work with the pre-K programs that we currently have established, to maybe even kind of expand that program into more schools. And I'm supposed to pass that as Sandra gone?
Me, Sandra?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sandra Stearns, and I have been a master naturalist with the Forest Preserve of Cook County since 2016. And in the past, I've been a volunteer with the Open Lands Tree Keeper program, which I've completed. And I'm looking forward to learning about how to apply knowledge to children. And I think I covered that. And let's pass this on to Jessica.
Hi. Sorry, I don't Zoom very often, so this is all very different for me. I'm Jessica. I just started last month my Master Naturalist training in Cook County, and it's the most exciting thing that I've done in literally years, and it's opened up so many new opportunities, including this. I got this referral from Val Kehoe in the Cook County Master Naturalist program. I love the program. It's everything, for real. So I'm a special educator, and I work with students with learning disabilities and emotional and behavioral disorders. And I'm really interested in how to apply this training to those children through play and art. And I don't do any types of activities that aren't play or art based. So I just feel like this is like the perfect fit for me. And I want to bring it back to the Master Naturalist too, because we're working on a project engaging youth around 3 charismatic migratory bird species in the Mississippi Flyway, which are American white pelican, great blue heron, and there's one more, sandhill crane. And we're doing a program. So I'm hoping that when I leave this training, I can better know how to apply that and to create this program so that I can actually do the program in the forest preserves with my group from the Master Naturalist training and other programs, like thousands of other programs, hopefully. And I'm really excited to meet other folks here who want to do programming too, so I will pass it. Is there anyone who hasn't gone? Excuse me.
I think we've all done it.
Excuse me. Yeah, so that is me, and I'm very excited to be here. I won't be on camera the whole time because I'm kind of like in motion all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to be here, and I will be present for the full duration. And if you would like to connect with me, I'm going to give everybody my email. It's j.m.saffold, SAFFOLD as in dog @gmail.com. And that's the best way to reach me. And I'll put my phone number for text message or calling in the chat later, because I feel like it's a safe place to do that here. And I think that's it.
Jessica, can you put your email in the chat too?
I will too, sorry.
Thank you.
I know it's very obscure. I just wanted to say it if folks had a pen handy, but I will type it out right now.
Well, and I think we can all share our emails at some point if you want. How about at the end of today? And, you know, if we want to reshare, we can definitely do that on Saturday too. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. Okay. So thank you for everyone introducing yourselves. I'm going to quickly go over the whole conference agenda. And today, like I said, you kind of know what we're doing. Thursday, we're going to have our keynote speaker, who's a fabulous speaker about STEM. And then we'll have a little bit of a debrief after that, hosted by Natalie. And she's also going to share another early childhood guide activity. On Saturday, we'll be doing, I will be helping you guys understand more about Project Learning Tree and all of the professional development that is available to you through the website. Then Carly will be talking about the NAAE Guidelines for Excellence for Early Childhood Environmental Education Programs. So how to kind of take your programs to the next level. And it'll just be a brief overview of that. Then we're going to share our activities together, and I'll go over what that is going to entail. And then we're going to also talk about early childhood activities and adaptations for children with special needs. So Natalie will also host kind of just a brief talking about on how we can adjust some of the activities for that. The goals of the conference, what I hope that people will get out of this is that they become familiar with the Early Childhood Guide, the activities involved in that you'll be able to network with each other, and that you will understand more about all of the professional development that is available through the Environmental Education Association of Illinois or associated with that. And so we've jam-packed a lot of great stuff going on for the whole conference. So I do want to quick say that our sponsors are the Environmental Education Association of Illinois and also the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, which is kind of the umbrella organization over Project Learning Tree. We received a grant to be able to educate educators on different topics through Project Learning Tree. And there's going to be a raffle kind of every hour, and you have to be present to win. And there's going to be one per person. So there is an ability for me to remove names, but it's called Names on a Wheel. So it's really fun. And we're going to do a name on a wheel right now. The winner is going to receive these nature circles, which are these great circles. You can like hitch them onto your backpack, and it'll give you like quick activities to do with your early childhood student or child. And it's things like look in the sky and find cloud animals. So they're just really quick. And then the book, The Shape of Things, which is an alignment and a suggested book with the activity that Carly will do, which is activity 1 in the educator guide. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop sharing that. I'm going to pull up and share. See if I can actually grab the names on a wheel, which I had all set up. There it is. Can you see that right now? Or do you just see the other one? Do you see names on a wheel at all?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, here we go, full screen. So I'm gonna tap the middle. Hopefully you see your name. And Marissa. Yay, let's give a round of applause for Marissa. So I can't really see your faces, but I know you're jumping with joy right now. Marissa. Okay, I'm gonna stop share. Share again. Oh no, not wrong one. Sorry about that. Okay, do you see the raffle page right now? Thank you, Carly. So hopefully everyone got into the Moodle and you've seen the dashboard and have been able to understand that it is an online course platform that has the ability to share a bunch of resources. If you have trouble accessing it or you need, walking through, definitely email me tomorrow and I can kind of go through it. I did send out an email. Hopefully everyone's been able to access it. And I do want to highlight that you should definitely look at the virtual tours after you the first email went out. So make sure you look at it. One is Imagination Grove Nature Playscape, an outdoor playscape out of Sugar Grove Nature Center. And it highlights the unstructured play of an outdoor nature kind of classroom. And then Carly's virtual tour is at the Jericho-Suki Nature Museum. And it's it's like literally walking you through the museum and explaining a lot of the exhibits. So it's amazing that we're able to kind of do that in this virtual world. And hopefully you enjoy it. And then when Carly's place opens, you can go visit. Okay, and okay. So homework. We're going to do an activity share. We're going to break up virtually in breakout rooms. You're going to pick an activity to share. It's going to be only 3 minutes or less. You're going to figure out the title. You're going to tell us the page number, the activity number. You're going to give us a quick overview. You're going to show one part of the activity. So if it's the song part that you really like or the craft, you're going to kind of show that in your little demonstration, and you're going to explain why you picked it. Now, activities number 1 and number 9 will already be shared, so do not pick those. That's the shape of things and be a tree. And truthfully, we might have some doubles. People might have, 2 people might pick the same one. I think it's fine. Again, highlight something that, drew you to that activity. So right now I'm going to go through the guide, and we're going to kind of explore the guide. So if you were wanting to go ahead and pick up your book and grab your book, this would be a good time. Or everything is pretty much screenshot, and I'm going to walk you through it right on this PowerPoint page. But if you want to follow along and be engaged, definitely go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to say, pull up your book and go to page 19. And we're going to walk through the guide so that you understand how it's laid out, each activity. The first thing that we're going to highlight is the title. So that basically tells you what activity you're about to do. There is an overview at every activity, and that basically gives you an understanding of what to expect throughout the activity. And it kind of gives you a little bit about the goals. The objectives is what you hope the children will gain by doing this activity. So observing shapes, looking at nature, that would be the shape of things that, again, Carly's going to go through. The objectives, like I said, the assessing the experiences is how will you know if your students have, learned what you want them to learn. And hopefully these things are used to evaluate that. And some of them are like, you're hearing your students use new vocabulary. So the next thing is we're going to go quickly to the word bank. And the word bank is just basically vocabulary words. So if you were unsure on the vocabulary words, you can highlight them. But these are words that maybe your students wouldn't know, that you may want to kind of know the definitions of. Next are related activities. Basically what that is other activities within the guide. This would be an alignment. So if you wanted to group some of your activities, maybe in a week, these would kind of all go well together. So the shape of things goes really well with the activity, get in touch with trees. And then the background for educators, I think, is really important. So if you don't know anything about the actual activity, this information should set you up so that you understand what is expected, you understand a little bit deeper into the activity, and that is hopefully enough for you to carry on through the activity. The next thing is the featured experience. That's basically, a kickoff activity. It's to kind of get the kids excited, and it's like the first thing that you want to do with your students. The next is a group experience. So if you have a class, basically, this is how you would want to orient and share with your entire class. And then learning centers are basically locations that students can go to. They're like little activity centers. And what it is it's minimal instructions, kind of almost free play thoughts. The students can go there and do the activity, and they kind of know how to do it without a lot of instruction from an adult. And then reading connections is pretty amazing. What it is it's highlighted books that go in association with the activity. So we highlighted that Carly's activity will be the shape of things, and we're going to give away one of those books, but this would be a great thing to buy to go along with your activity or get it from the library, right? One thing I do want to highlight is the appendices. So if you maybe never took students outside, there's a whole thing on playing it safe. Maybe you want to green your classroom more. The one thing I do want to highlight on this is the music CD. So this is the activity one that Carly is going to go through, the shape of things. On page 22, it actually says, sing and dance with Billy B. Well, in the appendix, number 1, it gives you the words to the song. So you play the CD and then you can learn the words to the song. And so that's the match right there on page 100. Now, another resource that I wanted to show you is that you can find the music CD through the Project Learning Tree website and not even have the CD. You can just play it from the website. And so how you do that is you go to the Project Learning Tree website, go to the search feature, which is the little magnifying glass, and type in music and it will come up. So I have not been able to find it any other way, but it is definitely available that way. Another thing is at the end of your book, it doesn't say it in the appendices, but there is a notes section. So if you wanted to add notes from the training this week, you could definitely add it. It's on page 111. So does anybody have any questions right now? I will, let's see. It's gonna stop share. Oh yeah, stop sharing. Anybody have any questions? Nope. All righty. So the next portion of our conference is our featured speakers. And the first person that's going to talk with us is Abby, which we introduced already. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the Environmental Education Association of Illinois, the EL4IL, or the environmental literacy, and how they're working collaboratively and inclusively to advance the field of environmental education in Illinois. So
awesome. Can I go ahead and, oh, yep, you just ended your screen share. There we go. Fantastic. Let me jump back to the beginning of mine. There we go. Welcome, everybody. Again, thank you so much for being here with us tonight for this EdVenture. We actually started EdVentures in 2019 down in Carbondale. My master naturalist that's down in Carbondale may know a facility, a little spot down there called Touch of Nature Environmental Center. We hosted our very first cohort of about 40 educators in 2019 that got together from all grade levels to do our first EdVentures. And then, of course, the pandemic hit and everything went remote. So now we're doing these great conferences or mini conferences online. Hopefully someday we will be able to come back together in an in-person setting where you actually will get to be kind of in that conference mode together for these mini conferences. But anyway, my name is Abby Enlin, and I'm the Executive Director for the Environmental Education Association of Illinois. I believe, Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of you, some of you will walk away from this mini conference with a membership to EEAI. You will become a part of our network if you're not already. We are the nonprofit member-based organization that is throughout the entire state of Illinois made up of educators. And it's not just formal educators, but it's administrators, it's non-formal educators, it's our Master Naturalist Network, along with organizations throughout the state like Touch of Nature and Jirikasuki Field Museum and many, many others. And we are charged with promoting and providing high quality environmental education, professional development, and networking opportunities throughout the state of Illinois. So Kelly is our program coordinator that runs a lot of our facilitator trainings and the trainings that those facilitators run to get some of these projects out into the hands of educators. We're the state host for Project Learning Tree, which is the program you all are here to learn about. Project Wild, which is an animal and wildlife-based program, very similar to Project Learning Tree. NAAE's Guidelines for Excellence in Environmental Education, which has different modules for a lot of different topics. You'll hear about one of those on Saturday, I believe Kelly mentioned. Earth Force Illinois, which is a project-based learning, student-led action project, student-led environmental action program that we run, and then Rise Challenge Illinois, which takes that Earth Force process and the idea of students leading the way and puts a natural hazard, natural disaster spin on it, and includes a student summit and competition where students actually compete against each other for prize money. And that one we partner with FEMA on that one. We're the Illinois state affiliate for the North American Association for Environmental Education. So we make sure that we have a statewide or a presence on the national stage when it comes to environmental education initiatives and programs. We have the statewide EE Awards program and the statewide EE Mini Grant program. So none of this would be possible without the support of our members. And unfortunately, I have no idea how to get that little yellow box to go away. It's something on my computer, so I apologize. It's gonna fade in and fade out. If anyone is technologically savvy and can help me figure out how to make that go away, shoot me an email. So how can you support this work? Well, like I said, a lot of you are going to become members of this network already. But besides that, there are a lot of other ways that you can support our work. So right now, I know a lot of you have your phones sitting somewhere handy nearby. If you are on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you can seek us out, the Environmental Ed Association of Illinois, like and follow our pages. Growing those platforms, as silly as it may sound, really does increase our reach and exposure. I'm going to throw, or I'm maybe going to have Kelly throw a link in the chat. Yeah, because I can't do that right now. And now I just made it go away. To our merchandise store, we have merchandise available that you could purchase that would help support our programs. We have all kinds of fun t-shirts and a mask and a bag and hats and sweatshirts and all kinds of stuff in our merchandise store that's up for the next couple of weeks. So we have that available. You're attending an event, which is an awesome way to support the work that we do. We have regional directors. We break the state down into 5 regions. We have regional directors throughout the state. Those are our board members. So you can seek those out on our Facebook. Each regional director has their own group broken down by region. So you can seek them out on Facebook and connect with them there. You could nominate someone in your life or a colleague or yourself for an EEAI award. Our awards program happens at our annual conference in the spring, but nominations are due at the end of October. So we're looking right now for those exemplary educators, those really standout educators. They're doing amazing work in a wide range of programming, both formal and non-formal, to really recognize and lift up what they're doing for the field. And then we do have a lot of different committees that work on things and support our work, and you can look up those up on our website as well. I wanted to bring your attention to our annual conference. We're hoping to have our first in-person conference in 2 years in April the 8th and 9th in 2022 at the Hoover Forest Preserve up in Yorkville, Illinois. So for some of you Cook County folks, that's not too far away from you. Unfortunately, Carbondale in Ontario, South Carolina, that's quite a drive, but I mean, maybe you could make it. Hopefully it will still be in person, fingers crossed. That can happen. If not, it will probably be a hybrid or a virtual event, but we'll keep you posted, and you can go to the website to learn more about that. All right, so what I am really here to share with you all is an amazing new program that we started way before the pandemic actually, and then had to totally shift gears when the pandemic hit. And we're engaging in the work of rewriting our state's environmental literacy plan. And so what is an ELP, Environmental Literacy Plan? Well, it's a statewide guiding document on how environmental education is to be implemented. Typically, it's written and adopted by branches of state government or state-funded organizations, such as the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, the Illinois DNR, or the Illinois State Board of Education. All of those organizations were partners that signed on to this project and helped us secure the funding to do this project. And then for various reasons, some of them sort of fell off when the direction changed a little bit, but we do still count the EPA and the DNR as 2 of our founding partners on this work that we're doing moving forward. So 3 of the main basic things that an ELP is supposed to do, you can see I kind of have those bulleted there. It's supposed to ensure alignment between graduation requirements, state standards and environmental education activities. It's supposed to integrate EE fully and efficiently and appropriately into all of our formal education systems, and it's supposed to engage underserved communities through an inclusive process so that all educators are beneficiaries, or all students, residents are beneficiaries of environmental education in schools. So what I would love for you to do is take a look at those 3 statements and think about where you are in the state of Illinois, what you know about the educational system, or your role in the educational system, and what do you see as problematic with anything in those statements. Feel free to unmute yourself, or if you want to put something in the chat box. Does anything problematic jump out at you?
Abby, I think one of the problems would be, first of all, educating the teachers themselves so that they are skilled in knowing how to integrate some of the natural processes. Also, I think where many of the schools are located, they don't have access necessarily to environmental areas where they can explore. And with, at least in Southern Illinois, you have busing, you have finances. We've got beautiful regions to explore, but it's a very, very poverty-stricken area statewide.
Yeah, so Kathy just touched on some really, really important problematic issues. The first one she mentioned was, we call that pre-service, right? So ensuring that our teachers have the education that they need on day one when they step into the classroom. There are currently no environmental education pre-service requirements in the state of Illinois. So we have no way to evaluate or ensure that teachers that walk into the classroom have any kind of background knowledge or foundational information on environmental education. So it's really hard to ensure that they're going into their job and doing what they need to do with all the same basic knowledge, right? So that's definitely problematic when you're talking about doing something on a statewide level that's all the same. The other thing she mentioned is the difference she touched on a little bit between some of the areas of our state that don't have access to outdoor spaces to explore, and some of our areas of the state that have plenty of outdoors, but limited resources in connecting those classrooms to those spaces. And what's really unique about the way you described that is it touches on exactly what the partners on this project, their first instinct was. When I had educators from CPS, which is the Chicago Public Schools, in the room with an educator from Carbondale, actually, not in the room. I use that loosely because we were on Zoom. They said, what works up there won't work down here. So if you make the same plan, the same statewide requirements, right? Graduation requirement up there that you make down here, it's impossible to guarantee that the resources they have up there will match what we have, and that the access we have down here will match what they have. How are we going to write a plan that works for CPS and for Carbondale? And it was like, you're right. I have no idea how we would do that and what that would look like. And then to wrap your head around how to move that forward in a truly inclusive way, because they use that word in there. But what are we talking about? Who are the underserved communities? Because you could certainly say that there are communities in Carbondale because of poverty, because of lack of internet access, you know, for a wide range of reasons are considered underserved communities that we need to strive to include in these conversations. And then we know, of course, there's communities of color and communities dealing with a lack of fresh water and fresh clean air in the Chicago regions that are totally suffering from environmental injustice. That those communities also, like, when you try and wrap your head around what you're truly talking about, and are we all using the same language when we even use a word like inclusion, it just really felt like we needed to take a step back. And before we wrote a new ELP, we needed to kind of start over a little bit here in Illinois. So our statewide ELP totally became something else. Yes.
Abby, I just wanted to tell you there's some thoughts in the chat. Do you want me to read them to you?
Oh, yes. I apologize. Yes, let's step
No
back
problem.
and make sure we cover those ideas.
So Jessica said the problematic issues might not be integrating or could be not integrating Indigenous knowledge and Indigenous rights, transportation for families and schools. Sandra said there might not be time in the planning process for the classrooms.
Absolutely. We all know how much educators are struggling, both formally and non-formal, right, to have enough clock hours with their students and to get everything in that they need to get in, state testing requirements, all of that stuff. A few other things to note, there are no state graduation requirements around environmental education. We do not have a state office of environmental education. So again, we here in Illinois, we lack a little bit of the authority. So should we put out this plan and have all these requirements written in there, we don't currently have any authority or funding to make those things happen. All very problematic. So our statewide ELP that we set out to write became something very different. And what we decided the state needed is a foundational document on how to truly advance equitable environmental literacy in Illinois. We wanted to focus on examples. Where is this happening around the state in effective, really impactful ways? We wanted to focus on resources. How do we make sure that educators around the state know what's already out there? And then how do we fill the gaps for what educators say they need or don't have and build that for them? And then to build an even larger state network. So making sure that people know, again, that these resources are available, that they can tap into them, that they can share ideas between Cook County and Carbondale, even though their situations are so different. Let's work together and share what's working for me to see if that could potentially work for you. We wanted it to be an online living document. And I say that because it's never going to be put out in print. We want it to have links that people can click on and follow. We want it to constantly be able to be adapt and improved. Right now, unfortunately, the Environmental Ed Association and a lot of the project partners that we brought in, we really couldn't, we tried and we don't have really good organic relationships with a lot of our Indigenous serving organizations. EEAI is working in that area, but we don't have that yet. So we recognize that right now, this thing that we're building and creating does still have a lack of Indigenous knowledge and Native voice and perspective in it. And that's an area that we know we still need to include. So as a living document, we know there's still work to be done, and we will be looking to improve and add more and work through those challenges. It's going to have some pretty amazing case studies where we get to really show off some of these amazing exemplary educators that are really stepping up and doing incredible work throughout the state. And then it's going to have further learning sections, which will really, really focus in on some of the incredible resources the state has, like our Illinois Green Ribbon Schools program, like our Illinois Clean Energy Community Foundation and the Solar, Wind, and Solar Schools programs. So some of those, the Illinois Ag in the Classroom program. If you're not familiar with Illinois Ag in the Classroom, if you haven't connected with your county coordinator for that program, as a previous county coordinator in another life in Ag Ed, I would totally encourage you to look up that program and get involved because it's amazing. So you can find out more. I put the website on there and we can maybe throw that in the chat as well. But so that's a little bit about initially what we were hoping to make. Now, I want to take a step back because I've used this term environmental literacy. And again, I wanted to throw this out there because one of the big pieces that, we had over 50 people in a room together. And when we said what needs to be in this foundational document, one of the things that they said they clearly needed was a definition of environmental literacy. What does that look like? What does that mean? Is that like, are we talking about a person? Like, do you become environmentally literate? So if you're environmentally literate, does that mean there's someone out there that's illiterate in the environment? Like, what does that look like? What does that mean? So I would love to put that to you right now. When I say environmental literacy, what are some things that come to mind? You can throw them in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself and just share out, what resonates with you? So Mary says, understanding the natural world and our connection to it. Absolutely. Information that's available about the environment and our ability to understand the environment, understanding our footprint and our effect on the future of our planet, right? So we're talking about interconnections, how one thing impacts something else, for sure. Love that, Marissa. So Joy sent it just to me. I feel very special, but she says, having an understanding of how we impact our environment and how we are a system, right? Again, that interconnectedness, how to take care of our planet. Very good. So these are all amazing, amazing ideas. And you can imagine the longer we sat here, our brains would like continue to go, right? And that definition would get longer and longer. And it ended up being about 2 pages in the document. So when you go and you look at it, like, bear with me because it's long. Like we got into the weeds a little bit with what is environmental literacy, but the basics of what we came down with, environmental literacy is the understanding of our environment, who and what surrounds us. It's the building of relationships between the human and the non-human. It's the ability to see that everything is interrelated. One aspect of the natural world influences and is influenced by other aspects of the natural world. And it's understanding that humans are a part of the natural world, not over it. And that was a super important component of the definition for a lot of educators that worked with me on this, is that we are not in control. We are not, you know, this like higher being that's over the natural world, that we are just a part of these systems. But it goes way beyond that. So it's also not a linear concept. For anybody that went through, you know, those foundational environmental education courses in undergrad or in graduate school, or maybe even through your Master Naturalist program, they talk about this like process of environmental education, right? You get knowledge, you get awareness, you know, get questioning skills, then civic engagement, right? There's like this almost feels like a linear format. But what we've discovered, and something that came out that was difficult for me, because it's not my lived experience, but someone could become environmentally literate because they have a lack of clean water. They could become very engaged in their environment because they have to fight every day just to have access to clean resources. And that could make them an extremely environmentally literate person because of that civic engagement to fight against an environmental injustice. They could have never put their feet in mud or seen, you know, old growth forests, but they could be just as passionate and motivated and environmentally literate as someone who grew up floating rivers and digging in dirt. And so understanding that this is not a linear concept, there's no perfect formula to, you know, to have somebody become this environmentally literate thing is really, really important, and something that we really focused on quite a bit in the document. There's no endpoint, right? This is always a continuation of learning, but we do feel like there's 7 key tenets that we really hope that everyone in Illinois will have access to, that they'll have the ability to have this be a part of their foundational understanding. We want them to have an understanding of their community. So what is around you? What makes up your community? And this is going to be that sense of place. If you've heard that term, I think it's pretty prevalent in early childhood environmental education kind of language, is that we're building that sense of place. Okay, awareness of the environment is another one, just understanding what is around you, whether that's the ants on the sidewalk when you step outside your school or your apartment building, or it's the creek, or it's, you know, the wetlands or the prairie, whatever's around you, being aware that it's there. And then that connection to the environment. A lot of you mentioned that we want to feel bonded to it. I think Kathy even said when we care about it, we will take care of it, right? And we have that innate value that if you care about something, then you will be pushed to do something if that thing you care about is in trouble. So we want to build that connection. An understanding of environmental justice. Now, this frequently gets left out of a lot of environmental literacy conversations in other states and other areas of this field. And it was a focus of the work that we wanted to do, because we do think at this point it is foundational. We have to fix, we have to deal with the issues that we have created and the problems that we have put an overabundance on certain communities. And so understanding what caused those and where we're at as a state is super, super important. Civic engagement focused on environmental action is another thing. We want to make sure that everyone understands that they have a role to play and they have a power to make change, especially for our youth. We want them to have a really high level of civic efficacy where they're like, yes, my voice matters and I can make a difference. We want everyone to have access to climate change education and an understanding of climate science. This is not political. This is not, bias. This is fact. Climate change is happening. We need to understand it. We need to know how we're affected by it, and we need to know how we can impact it. An understanding of sustainability, adaptability, and resilience, right? We have to be able to move forward. We got to fix some of these things. So how can we be more sustainable? How can we adapt to this changing climate? And how can we build more resilient communities to these changes? So this is a tall order. This is 7 key tenets. And we're counting on you, early childhood educators, to really hit those top 3. So really focus in this conference on understanding of community, awareness of the environment, and connection to the environment, because we are counting on our early childhood educators to really make sure that those things get taken care of. So the chapters of the EL for IL are meant to cover, again, that clear definition of environmental literacy. And then one of the things that came up in a lot of these conversations is that we don't feel still in our field that we have a really good foundational understanding of some of these social terms, some of these social justice terms that we're throwing out, like environmental justice, like equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. What are those words when you're talking about our field? What do they mean? How do they play a role in the work that we do? And what do we need to be changing about our practices and our policies in order to do better in these areas? And so we wanted to lay out some foundational definitions, some resources, and some information on those topics. And the document comes with a bit of a warning in the beginning that we hired some consultants. We worked with some groups here in Illinois that added some content, we call them Jedi reflections. And these are kind of sections where we really put, we call out some troubling stuff in our white dominant culture that has been happening in this field for a long time. And we call out some questions that we think are really important for educators to think about as they're trying to move forward in this area. Chapter 3 is my favorite chapter. It's all about implementation strategies. So again, this is like, we don't want to call them best practices because that kind of insinuates that one person has the ability to do it better than somebody else. And we think it's just approaches. But these are the strategies, the ways you can look to implementing environmental education for the impact of increasing environmental literacy. And again, these will be changing. What are hot topics now, like outdoor learning and outdoor classrooms, environmental civic action, might not be the same topics and the same strategies, 5 or 6 years from now. So this is a living document where these will be changing. Partnership building, we know we cannot do this work in silos. We have to be walking across bridges and building partnerships, working in our communities, advancing community engagement, boots on the ground kind of work. So how can we build effective and collaborative partnerships? And then how do we evaluate this work? How do we know when we're doing okay and when we're not doing so okay? How do we know when we're, really making an impact in our community? So we try and give you some of the tools and guidance for how to assess your programming and how to assess individuals in environmental literacy. Additional aspects of the project, we have an amazing funder in the Pisces Foundation that has put a lot of faith in EEAI to get a lot done with this project. And some of that work is going to include workshops, a little bit like this one. In this next school year, we're going to be hopefully putting out 2 pretty major mini conferences like this, where it will be a series of webinars. One is going to be on climate change education. Going to be working with our state climatologists. We're going to be working with the Will Steger program, Climate Generation, hopefully, and really building out a really unique, incredible program to really advance educators' understanding of environmental or of climate change education. And then another advanced workshop on environmental justice, and really digging into that complicated topic and talking with some of the really boots on the ground community-based organizations about what they're doing, the issues that are currently facing Illinois, and how we can bring those topics into a classroom. And then we're hoping to build out an Illinois EE resource database. So this is going to be hopefully a map feature that will also be searchable, where you can find any resource, any facility. You want a topic on frogs, or we had some folks who were interested in sandhill cranes. I'm going to look up sandhill cranes and see what I can find that's Illinois based, focused on that topic. So we're really hoping to be able to create a pretty incredible database that will help educators get what they need to advance environmental literacy in their communities. So if you want to learn more about any of this, my email is right there. You can find all of the information about EEAI and all of the different projects and programs that we run on eei.net. I heard a couple of people mention scout groups and homeschooling groups. I would strongly encourage you to look into Earth Force Illinois and Rise Challenge Illinois, because those are 2 amazing programs we have that will fit perfectly within scout group, kind of, that non-formal setting. They're great for classrooms too, but if you have an opportunity to work with students a little bit older than early childhood, those 2 programs would be a great fit for you. And with that, I will take any questions, any reactions, thoughts that anyone might want to share. I think I have, nope, it's 7:01, so I think I'm stepping on Carly's toes at this moment. But if anyone has a last minute thought or a question for me, I'm happy to answer that.
Oh yeah, we have a few minutes if you want to take questions.
I'm a fast talker, so I covered a lot.
Well, and anybody can email Abby for sure if you have thoughts later. If you want to be involved, she's welcome for that. We could always use help, so just know that's available. And I think we're gonna go ahead with Carly, but we're gonna give everybody a 5-minute break, because I can use a 5-minute break. So I have 7:02. Does everybody have that? I'm gonna use the washroom. So 7:07, if everybody can be back, that would be great. And then we'll get going with Carly with our first activity. So if you want to make sure that you have your book available, or I think there was a few links, you can get those pages virtually from the email that I sent out.
Kelly, I have a quick question for Abby.
Yeah, oh, sure, definitely.
Okay, for the Illinois state plan, would it be possible to have 2 plans, one plan for upstate and another plan for downstate? Would that help at all?
So that's a really, really interesting idea, a really great thought. We got into issues when we started talking about that, like dividing. It's like, where's the line? Because all of the suburbs of Chicago still definitely feel like they're connected up there, have a lot of the same issues. But then where I'm at in Peoria, Illinois, Peoria Community, the Peoria Public School District, they function, even though they have green space and we have amazing nature centers within walking distance of a lot of schools, their requirements and their limitations are modeled directly after CPS. So even though they could walk to a nature center down the street, they're not allowed to do that because they follow CPS guidelines. So it's really, really tricky when you start trying to, break it up by region. The western part of the state looks very different from the eastern part of the state. There's just all kinds of complicated issues. So that's sort of, again, why we decided to kind of take a step back and just create this foundational document. But if we ever get to the point of wanting to make a plan, I imagine, it might, I don't know how it would break out, if it would be urban versus rural. I honestly have no idea.
or like 5 plans Because isn't there 5 regions in Illinois?
Yes, yeah. So it could be one based on every region, but then again, like, so then what's Illinois State Board of Education supposed to do? Like, how do you configure graduation requirements if you've got 5 different plans? Or how do you, allocate funding if they're not all doing the same things? Xander, it is a complicated topic, I tell you.
Yes, it is. I see. I understand now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all so much. I'm going to sign off for the evening. Natalie, it's great to see your face. But have an incredible time, and I look forward to hearing all of the feedback and all the notes from Kelly on how it all went. So thank you all so much.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start whenever you're ready, Carly, since it is 7:07. I do have like an introductory thing, but I'll go ahead and let you do that. And then if everybody wants to, Carly, once Carly's done with her activity share, there is one more raffle prize at the end. So if you stay for the end, you get that opportunity.
Yes. And Kelly, if you can keep an eye on the chat, I'm going to minimize mine for now. And can everybody see my screen share okay? We've got the presentation. Okay, awesome. All right. So I am Carly Tuminello. I'm the director curator of the Jurikisuke Nature Museum, which is in Lisle, Illinois, so just outside of Chicago. I'm so excited to share the first lesson in your book, The Shape of Things. Kelly was awesome and went through the guide and how it worked with this lesson. So you get to see all the different parts of this lesson. But we're going to dive in and really kind of go through this particular one and get to know it and the guide a little bit better. First, I would like to share a little bit about my museum. And I have to figure out how to go forward. I know I have a lot of pictures.
If you go and highlight, like move your cursor to the bottom left, there's a little triangle.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I know it also goes slow because I have so many pictures in this. So I don't want to skip ahead too fast. Okay, so this is a little bit about the inside of my museum, which unfortunately is still closed to the public because of the pandemic. We just reopened to campus. And so I'm hoping that we will have that kind of limited reopening go well and be able to open fully to the public soon. But for right now, and for those of you who are out of our area, you can always explore with us virtually now. One of the unexpected opportunities from the pandemic is that we've never had virtual resources before, and now we have a lot of them because our students have been very busy learning how to create such things. So here is a couple of our contact points our Facebook and Instagram. We have a podcast, which will start its new season soon. And we have a lot of resources on our website as well. And I did drop those links in the chat. I just want to highlight really quick, we actually are launching a science speaker series because it's our 50th anniversary this year. And we have a wonderful lineup of scientists that are going to be highlighting various different topics in natural history and human and nature connections. This will all be up on our YouTube, so you don't have to view it live. It will be airing every Thursday at 7, and that will be available for viewing in the future on our YouTube channel. I'm super excited about this. It's going to be a great lineup. I want to know a little bit more about where you guys are at and kind of where we're starting from. So we're going to switch and go to Mentimeter, which if you are not familiar with, you go to menti.com. So either on your phone or just pick up a new browser tab on your computer. But I just want to kind of have a moment to kind of share what are some of the things that you feel are holding you back from incorporating nature experiences into your learning space or your routine at home. I'm just curious of like what your stumbling blocks are. At the top, there's a code that you enter in once you get to menti.com. And then you can enter in and type in your answers and they'll pop up here.
And it might be easy for people to pull it up on their phone.
Yeah, I think it is, but whichever works for you. There we go. We're getting it. And I should have one more of these at the end of the presentation too, to kind of see where we're at the end. But for right now, I just kind of want to hear from you guys. You know, it may be that you're new to all of this. Yes, buy-in, I understand that. Trying to convince people that are just don't know the value, right? I know I struggle with that, with just the value of the museum. Trying to justify yourself all the time, right? I feel the same challenges with outdoor education and nature-based education as well. We all know it's there, right?
And I think a lot of times it's standards focused too. You know what I mean? When folks, especially administration, doesn't see that the standards can align, you know, when you use outdoor time as well.
Right.
And everyone, that's Natalie Martin. She's also going to be one of our partners in crime with helping you guys with the EdVentures program. So she'll be hosting an activity on Thursday, right? And then helping to facilitate some discussions on Saturday.
Yes, you will see me. You'll be tired of me.
Yes, COVID just, boy, we've had to roll with the punches the last 18 months, right? But I have seen it have a lot of great potential in highlighting how getting outside is such a great thing, right? Because it's safer right now too. So there's this bit of a push to, oh, what's this thing that we've never heard of? And it's kind of easier to show it to your administration and things like that because it's kind of the hot topic right now. But it's always been there, right? So being able to highlight that and bring it into your work, I hope that this inspires you to do so. Yes, and time, I see a lot of time, staff time, planning time, resources, things like that. Those are all big challenges, right? And I'll look through more of these as we go along. Oh, I can scroll down, look at that. Can you all see that too? Yeah, and just right, your own comfort level, especially because some of us may not have grown up outside. Like I went to a nature-based preschool, which was really pretty rare back then. I have so many great memories of that, right? And to think that other people didn't have those experiences, right? That's sometimes something I need to remind myself that not everybody values it just instantly like I do, because that was my childhood experience. And that is, again, why Abby said, it's all up to you guys, right? Because you have to instill that love of nature right from the get-go, because people can't care about things when they don't know about them, right? So that knowledge base starts first, and then you get to that value and caring about what it is, and then you get to the action items of taking care of it. All right. And somebody is already fully nature-based. That's fantastic. Well, I hope you learned some new things today as well. I will go forward. Thank you for all your input on that. That was very helpful. So getting started with nature play, obviously some of you are maybe pros at this already. A lot of you, I think, are kind of starting out or looking for something to kind of revitalize what you're already doing. I want to highlight in the guide, don't pass up pages 2 through 16. I know a lot of the times if you're like, oh, a new guide, and you kind of jump into it and you're getting into the different sections and trying to, you know, understand what it is, don't pass up the introduction. I love the introduction to this book, especially if you're starting out. It has so many great tips, safety tips, how to get outside, how to help yourself be more comfortable getting outside. I think it's the most valuable part of this book. So be sure to read through the introduction. And I'm sure if you were like me, you'll have a highlighter out and taking lots of notes on that, because it's very helpful. When you are going outside, either with your own children, with a small group, or with a whole class, exploring nature it's unique, and it's a complete sensory experience. You use everything, right? When you're out there, you're feeling the wind, you're smelling the grass, you're seeing things, you're touching and feeling things, you're running around, hopefully, right? Like, I mean, you can use everything. And it fosters that wonder and curiosity, because you are enveloped when you are outside in nature. And remember that nature isn't somewhere far away, right? It is right there. And it's right around us, right? Our built environment. I mean, all of the things that are around us are made from various natural resources, right? We don't have a replicator like on Star Trek. It's all from somewhere. So, you know, think about that too, that just the things that are incorporated in your building materials and things like that, you might have very natural landscapes right around where you are. Bringing nature inside is a great way to start. You can use them, you can set up displays of natural objects, start incorporating them slowly, especially if you have older kids that might not be super familiar with it or comfortable with things. That's fine. Start out slow and simple, right? Support adventures outside. So if you're just starting out and you don't really know, or you're not super comfortable leading activities outside, it does not need to be complicated. Just get the kids outside, right? Just explore. I mean, the first couple of times, especially if you're with like a classroom setting, right? So you've got like 25 or 30 kids with you. Don't expect anything the first go, right? Make sure that there's kind of one primer lesson that you can go out and just explore, because once they get out there, there's so much stuff to see. You might not be able to hold their attention on the one thing you're trying to teach them, right? So let them have time to explore freely and unstructured. Regularly add more time in, especially for that unstructured nature play. It might take a little bit of time for you to be comfortable kind of letting go and seeing how the kids do, right? And what they're interested in. But that can help you clue in to their interests, their natural interests. What do they want to learn more about? And that can help you kind of form your lessons too. But just that unstructured free play is so sparse in our society now. Everything is timed, right? When they get off the bus, they've got either lesson plan, homework help, they've got football or karate or whatever. They're so scheduled that having that unstructured nature time is good for the brain. It helps them grow. They need time to just relax and take it all in. And that's outside is a perfect place to do that. I would definitely stress process over product in anything you do. And I know a few of you have already mentioned, it's all about the art, right? Make sure that it's not just art that they're taking home, right? A lot of schools and things like that, it was an easy check off the box, right? We did this activity and it's something they can shove in their backpack and bring home. Art is usually process oriented. It's messy, and there might not be a little, you know, colored construction paper piece of something to bring home. That's okay. Ephemeral art out in nature, oh my gosh, it's so much fun, right? Take some leaves and design a little mandala, take some sticks, make a little stick man. You can't take that home, but oh my gosh, do the kids learn so much from that. Crafts are what I like to call those products that you take home. There's a place for those, of course. It's really good to teach instructions, step-by-step, you know, instructions, things like that, to walk kids through that. Just don't rely solely on that like a lot of classrooms do. And getting out with nature art is such an awesome way to actually have free art, not telling them what to build, just giving them time to have that creative process and make whatever they want to. And that leads to that child-led activity, right? So try to let them figure out what they're gonna do. That doesn't mean just, oh, free play, go do whatever. You can guide them in it. You can give them some parameters or some prompts, but then let them then take the process and go with it, right? Allow for individual differences. Nature is fantastic for this. If you go outside, you're never going to see the same leaf twice, right? There's always something different about every little thing out there. And if you really dive into that, every little thing that is all around you is so different. Like, that's wonderful. We celebrate that when we're looking at all these different things, and when we're scientists go out and look at all the different specimens and species, right? They're always looking for those differences. And with humans, we tend to not, right? We all want to be conforming and all in a row and be creative, be fun, and celebrate those differences with each other and out in nature. And I would definitely caution you with how you speak about things. If you know that you do not like snakes, don't teach about snakes. Let somebody else teach about snakes, right? If you are approaching something outside, and I mean, I get it. Some people really, they usually have had an adverse reaction in their childhood, and that has formed their way of thinking about certain things, right? Spiders or snakes. Usually those are seen as the bad guys. And that usually is from some sort of trauma, or that you learned it from a parent or, you know, an older person. But when you're outside and approaching different things, instead of saying, oh, a spider, say, wow, a spider, let's check it out, right? You don't have to go touchy-feely it. Just don't make it a bad thing right off the bat, because the kids are going to look to you for your reaction, right? I mean, that's just innate. Oh my gosh, like they're alarmed, right? The adult is alarmed. I need to be alarmed. Something's wrong. If we approach it a little more gently and a little more celebratory, even if you kind of have to, I really don't like spiders, but we're going to make it a happy thing right now. It takes away their bias right off the bat, right? So it gives them the opportunity to learn about the thing without being scared of it, which is definitely the goal. So with our project today, one of the main things for this lesson plan is introducing the theme. So when you start talking about different shapes, I would definitely say to present these and help build vocabulary. So don't worry about just focusing on the easy shapes, right? I mean, my son now is 4, but by the time he was 2, we were talking about parallelograms and trapezoids, and they'll learn whatever you're talking about and you know, presenting on. So they'll pick it up because it's around them. It definitely start talking about them. And when you're talking about it, you don't necessarily need to say, oh, it's a rectangle, right? Because that really doesn't mean anything until you see what it is. But describe it. You know, it has 2 parallel long sides, 2 parallel short sides, and you can point to it. You can I just added a whole bunch more vocabulary in just describing the shape, right? So Those kinds of things add in as you're talking about the different things and introducing the theme of shapes. Introduce various objects. So some built objects, like in this picture here with my son, some of the shapes that we had cut out and laminated. I am a big laminator. Things last a lot longer when they're laminated around young kids. But throw in natural objects too. So here, I kind of spread things out, and we had some of the cutout shapes from construction paper, and then some natural objects, natural items that we have from our nature play box. And he naturally separated them like this. So I laid out the material, and he put all of the colored construction paper in one area, and then had this kind of larger area to play with the nature play stuff. And it's kind of interesting to me. I'm sure there's a lot of child psychology behind that. But just to see how naturally he sorted things out, right? I didn't lead that. I just let him have the space to do it, right? And then incorporating music. And you have this wonderful CD that this guide comes with. We'll be exploring that a little bit later. But you can, dive into that, especially with young kids, but I would say older kids too. Music is just a great way to activate different parts of the brain, connect with, make different memories. And it's another way to get up and move, right? Movement definitely helps you learn and engage in those different ways too. So here's a couple of things. This is basically our lockdown diary. So, we had our son at home. We still have our son at home because he has some breathing issues. So we've been very cautious. And so we've been implementing all of these different things. This guide has definitely been a right-hand man for me. And just drawing on all these different things and seeing what we can do either inside or outside to start learning these different lessons. And really, basically everything we do is nature-based and a mix of natural materials. So here you can see we have this great little table that he uses, and I just leave the natural parts in the bin and let him set it up completely. Now, he's pretty used to this. He's been doing this a while. At the beginning, I did kind of set things up, and I know that's a big kind of Instagram thing, is to set up this really cool scene, an interactive scene, things like that. In all of the STEM fairs and exhibits and things that I've done, when you have everything very set up and kind of perfect, picture perfect, right, for the gram, kids will not touch it. They don't want to ruin it. So it's not really an invitation to play. They don't want to mess it up because you put it together at your level, and so they think they're going to mess it up if they bring it back down to their level and interact with it. So I like to leave everything in the bin and let them start from scratch, right? Whether I'm out at a STEM fair or whether I'm sitting in the living room with my son. Let their creativity flow. You've got the prompt, right? You've got this bucket of stuff and a clean surface to work on. Let them go for it, and they will. And you can see here on the right side, he took one of his little stickers that we had messed with, and it turned into this little tent. He put all the little sticks and crumpled up some little pieces of tissue paper and made a fire. Really cool stuff, right? I walked back into the room, I'm like, what are you making over here? And ask, right? Ask what is this? What's going on? Where, what's the chameleon doing? And get them talking, and that develops their language skills too, right? Because they'll start to tell you stories. And that really gets down to their creativity, their vocabulary, and they get to invite you into their world, right? Something else that we love to play with is our geoboard. So we made a nature geoboard. This is a slab of wood. I think it was $11 at Hobby Lobby. Most of my, we live in Lisle, so it's very urban. So most of my stuff comes from the craft stores or things that I can pick up from other people. If the neighbor is getting rid of a tree or something like that, we might cut up some buckthorn or part of a tree. But it's, you have to let it dry and sand it. And so it is a bit of work. So if you're looking for something really quick and easy to implement, craft store is your friend. They have so many of these things. that are ready to go, and different kinds of trees too, right? So there's some birch. They have some other great shapes as well. I love these planks. These make great bridges. But we just got this fairly large, I think they use them for like sign making and things like that, but it's very nicely sanded. And I just used trim nails. So nails that don't have heads on them. You can use a lot of different things if you're not comfortable with the metal. They're not really sharp, but you know, some schools, they have different regulations. So you can also drill in and use like golf spikes. What are those? The little things that you golf with, right? And glue those in, or wooden.
Tees.
Yes, tees. Thank you. Shows how much I golf. But things like that, and you can make this geoboard. So basically it's just whatever peg you use, make a grid system. And then we use rubber bands, and you can make different shapes and things like that to stretch over the grid and explore shapes this way. So we use that a lot. Another thing we did down on the bottom is had a bunch of different stones and rocks and things like that, and colored construction paper and some chalk. And he got to draw all around, make kind of a map around the area with these different rocks. And that was really fun too. So there's a lot of different things that you can easily implement with these nature prompts. So getting into the first activity, the featured experience is a shape walk. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Obviously, kind of the standard is the colored construction paper, right? Cutting out the different shapes. When kids cut out the shapes, they're not going to be perfect, right? That's okay. I can show you a picture on the Moodle later of my son's one. I unfortunately don't have it with me today. But his squares are not quite squares. That's okay. He made it. He knew what it was. It's really great scissor skills, right? To learn how to cut those out. So there's a template up on the Moodle too that you can print out and have them practice their scissor skills to make their own shapes. I do suggest laminating them because they just last longer. If you're going to use it more than once, definitely laminate it, because if they're really exploring with it and using it on their walk, they're going to get crumpled and they're going to get frustrated with it. I love my laminators. I definitely laminate a lot. But this is, kind of a fun, the funky colored shape. You can make it as a necklace. If kids don't want to put things over their heads, I know this usually comes back off again on my son and he hands it back to me. I don't want to carry it all around. You can also make things like bracelets that are much easier to go on, or can hook on a backpack pretty easily. So don't think you just have to make a necklace. Like, figure out what works with your group of kids. Another thing I would suggest is kind of thinking outside the box with what you're making the shapes out of. So I love to laminate leaves. They work really well in a hot press laminator and they last a long time. But I actually just dried some leaves. So I just put them in the book for about a week. I don't use wax paper. I usually just use whatever book I have. So I use the guide. Let them dry for about a week so they're nice and crispy. And then kind of carefully cut out the leaf. And I got all of these out of one big maple leaf. And then I laminated them and they worked so well. I actually made this last fall. It still holds this beautiful yellow color from the fall leaves. And then we actually have, shapes made out of leaves, and they're really fun. And you can see the veins. When you laminate leaves, they also work really well under a microscope. It's basically like a ready-made slide. So really great for nature exploration with those as well. So with these, you can see, I really like to use shoelaces. I know you can use, tape or glue on the ends to kind of make it something easy to thread. Shoelaces are just so one and done. They're easy to start lacing with. But you really have so much fine motor control when the kids are lacing these up themselves. So have them cut out the shapes and whatever shapes you think they'll see on their walk outside. And you might come across some man-made shapes. That's okay. And you can always add to your necklace, right? Or your bracelet. So as you go, you know, if you find something that they really love this shape and they found it outside, add it to it for the next time you go outside. So construct your shape necklace or bracelet or whatever as an open-ended activity. So this can kind of be set up as a station that the kids can do, or you can, you know, if you want to kind of practice a step-by-step instruction, you can do the craft together, whichever works better for you guys. I know in my museum, time-wise, it works better with our summer camps if we're doing it as a kind of a step-by-step thing and then kind of go to the next activity. So it's however your you know, situation is set up. Again, identify each shape. So some kids might have different shapes than others. So you can go through and work through what the different shapes are, why they're different shapes. Again, vocabulary building opportunity there. And then starting indoors, you can find some shapes inside if you want to kind of start out slow. And then when you're ready, go outdoors and explore. And leave this as a time for open exploration. So making sure that you have enough staff and personnel around so that it's safe to go outside, look into risk assessment and things like that before you kind of head out. Make sure you have a nice space to go outside that is a safe place to explore. And then look around and see what you find. Some things, if you wanted to have it a bit more structured while you're outside, you could play I Spy after a bit of exploration. You can also take photographs. So either somebody go with, like, each of the kid gets to pick one thing for you to take a photograph of. Or if you have a small group or your own family, I suggest a hand-me-down camera. So this is one of our just old point and shoot cameras that had been in the closet forever, right? We upgraded long time ago. I don't even know how many megapixels this has, but our little old point and shoot camera. I got a kid-friendly latch, so it's got a safety release in case it gets caught on anything. So I feel comfortable with him wearing this. And then he doesn't drop it. So he wears this around his neck. And then he already, my goodness, I think he probably took about 5 pictures and knew how to change the settings and use the whole camera. So kids pick up technology really fast. But I just let him go out on our nature walks, and he can take his own pictures of the shapes he sees, right? And that makes it meaningful to him too. So if you have that kind of one-on-one opportunity, I definitely suggest getting the kids into photography. And then again, unstructured time to explore. Let them go see what they're going to see and enjoy the outdoors. When you come back in and you have a wrap-up session, ask what they saw, right? Try to trigger that memory, see what they were thinking about while they were outside. Again, a great time to do that vocabulary building and getting that sense of community where everyone's sharing their sense of place. What did you see outside? What is your favorite thing about outside? What do you want to go visit again next time we go outside, right? When we did this, it was so much fun. So we went out a few times and started making our shapes maps. So we started looking at all these different shapes that we saw while we were outside, and some of them are man-made and some of them are natural, and we kind of mixed it all together because we liked all of them and were great shapes. And then I actually took them, and again, my laminator, I laminated some of them. These make great things that you can pop into your classroom. We have these up in our little library in his bedroom. Every time we kind of go past that area, you know, we'll point to a shape and reinforce, you know, what is it that we're seeing. Another thing that you can do, which is really fun, is I picked up a whole bunch of these, like, I think they were on sale for 99 cents, these little photo albums. And I found one of those 9-cent sales. I think I got it at Walgreens, print out like all your pictures. And I just started printing our pictures that we had taken when we were out and put them in this little photo album. And it kind of became like a little scavenger hunt thing, right? Like we remember, oh, the tree by the duck pond has that big triangle in it that we found, right? And so then you're also building up that sense of place, right? They remember the things that are outside in their area, right? Oh, that's my duck pond now because that's where the triangle tree is. And you can really, you know, start to find things that are ephemeral, right? These little shells that wash up along the beach at my parents' house. We see those every summer. They're really fun, but they kind of come and go. So there's some seasonality we're noticing. Some of our favorite trees, right? Some of our favorite clouds, all these different things that are right around our area. So, and then a good pick-me-up during winter is to look at all those nice, pretty flowers, right? But a good thing to kind of key in on the seasonality of your place, of your site, and noticing all of those changes as you go. So another thing from the shape of things is the Learning Center, which is the Decorate Binoculars. And this is so much fun. I had to pry these out of his hand so that I could show them to you for this, because anytime these are out, he's like, those are my binoculars. I need to go spy some dinosaurs. So, so this is a great one to have as kind of an intro activity, or as, you know, its own little learning center that the kids can do on their own. They can glue these together or they can staple them together. I find they stay together better if they're stapled, so grown-up can help with that. And I just kind of shove the stapler in it and staple it twice, one on each end, and it stays together really well. Then you can poke holes in each side. And again, I'm big with the shoelaces. I just put those through, tied a little hole on it, and makes a nice little guide, or binoculars. We also did some bead lacing. Was working on those fine motor skills. So we added some pony beads to ours because he was really into making different necklaces and things like that. And then of course, adding color and design to the outside of them. So although these don't magnify, right, like real binoculars do, they do limit your field of vision. So as the kids are looking through them, it does hone their experience to what they're looking through, right? This little tiny window of their world, which allows them to see better details, which is really what you want, right? Key in on those little teeny tiny things around the area. And it'll let them see things in a much different way, right? And so in a way, it does magnify their world, just not the way that we're used to. And so it's a great way to kind of get the kids involved. And at least in our house, it becomes a very cherished item that we use nearly daily in our imaginary play. Like I said, we're really big into dinosaurs right now. So everything is about dinos. The guide also has these fun family and friends things to do together. So these are things that you can send home and encourage the family to do together. They also have a whole section on these tangram puzzles, and these are so much fun, adding a sense of math and geometry into the lesson plan about shapes, which of course makes a lot of sense. So you can print out this puzzle template, and I would suggest laminating it, but you can color it in and it kind of make it yours, and then cut it out. And then these pieces fit back together. But you can also make some really cool shapes with these. So you can kind of use your imagination, and you can make like bunny rabbits or squirrels or, you know, turtles, right? Put those pieces together in a different way, and then see if you can make it a square again, right? So kind of thinking outside the box with those things. And they do have different kinds of puzzles. Melissa and Doug has a really great set that has these kind of block sets where you can put things together like that. And make different patterns, right? A lot of pattern recognition, color recognition, and shape recognition. So these kind of things, look into those if you're looking for different options for your classroom, because there's a lot of great things out there, like wooden blocks and things like that that go along with this. And then the family worksheets are such a great way to tie in and bring home these lessons. You only have a finite time with them, and so does the family, right? You're splitting your time with them. So include them in what you're doing, let them know why you're going outside, how you're doing it, and then help the family feel comfortable doing those things at home, either in the evenings or on the weekends, right? Because you know, if you're not comfortable as an educator, their family might not be super comfortable either, right? And so introducing these little activities where everybody can kind of go outside and do these together, it's a nice, easy, simple way to kind of keep introducing these things even outside of your classroom time, and get the whole family on board in why it's so important to have nature play. So you have this fantastic CD that goes along with the book. The music and movement that you can inspire with this really fosters brain development, getting up and moving. You've got those gross motor actions. You've got a lot of fine motor skills. It really engages the whole body, right? And you can either take a boombox outside, or you can do this inside before you go out to kind of get some of those jitters out. But this is a great way to include some movement in your lessons. There are prompts in the lesson plan on kind of where to add these in, and a couple different activities you can do with them. There's a really fun one. I think it's the first track 1 shape walk, where you can kind of have the, like, as you're playing the songs, have the kids walk and figure out what shape they would be if they were trying to be that shape, right? And they can kind of move in those different ways. Or they can act like a leaf and be like, how would a leaf move to this music, right? Would it be really fluttery? Would it be, oh, gracefully coming down from the tree? Would it be in a tornado, big storm? So you can really get some imagination in those movements as well, which is a great way to engage the kids as well. So there's also some sounds of nature. There's the Billy Bee songs, which are fun and upbeat. And like Kelly said, all of the words are in the back, so you can learn them too, because you know the kids are going to pick up and sing along with it. So you can kind of get ahead of them and recognize what the words are. So a couple of my tips, especially if you're starting out, is go outside regularly. So make it part of your routine, either at home with your family or as part of your classroom. Set aside some time, at least weekly, to get outside and to have kind of your own sit spot, right? Your area, your sense of place that you can go. If you're on a regular school campus, maybe there's a tree that you can kind of go adopt that tree and learn all about that tree and find how it changes through the seasons, what squirrels prefer the tree, things like that. Like really kind of get into what is around you and get to know it, right? Build up that knowledge base. Engage all of the senses, which is so easy when you're outside. Get all of those different things engaged. If you notice that there's something, smelling, maybe they just cut the grass, point it out, right? And then the kids will point things out too when they know that, like, it's okay to, key in on those different things. Oh, they'll let you know. But, start encouraging those kind of things to come out. Begin with very simple experiences, because this doesn't need to be complicated to get started. And just kind of put your reservations aside and see what happens. That can be really hard. I know when we do tours in the museum, we have a guided tour and we have, kind of a hands-on learning experience. And then I give the kids a scavenger hunt and say, okay, you're in the museum, go find the things. And some of the teachers are like, oh my gosh, you're gonna let them be? I'm like, yeah, the doors are shut, they're not going anywhere. We have this, big space, let them go look. And it's sometimes really hard for the teachers to be like, okay, we're not gonna be in small groups and stay together. I'm like, no, just let them go find out what they are interested in, right? And that is so powerful, to let the kids have that autonomy and have that time to go explore. And outside of, 4 walls, going outside into nature and being comfortable out there, that's wonderful. That's going to be something that'll stay with them for their entire lifetime. So please help them foster that. And give them time to use their imaginations. If they're always being told what to do or always following instructions, that's what they're going to learn to do. We want them to think outside the box, right? The next generation has to come up with some creative solutions. So we need them to be thinking about things. How do things work? You don't have to have an answer. It's okay if it's all just questions. That's good. You don't have to have an answer for everything. And it's okay if you don't know, right? It can be a chance for you both to look something up. I know I am Googling things all the time. I don't know how that works, or I don't know why that roly-poly is that color. Let's see what it is, right? But you also don't always have to have everything identified or everything answered. That's okay to have open-ended questions or things that then lead to another question. Provide choices and unstructured play. If you can make a yes zone outside, some place that they can be, that would be wonderful, right? And I know sometimes, especially in urban settings, it's hard to find an outdoor space that you can kind of carve out to make yours. And getting your administration on board to make an outdoor classroom, such a wonderful thing to do, especially right now. There's a lot of money from the COVID funding, and a lot of places don't know what to do with it, right? So that's why we have like that EL for IL program and so many others out there, that there's a lot of ideas that you can implement fairly easily at your own site right now, to incorporate these different resources and bring them to your site. Emphasize the experience, not the product, and then engage caregivers at home. So having kids be used to and introduced to nature and things like that, but then also having the buy-in from the parents so that they're comfortable with it and that they also share those experiences with the kids. So I have a list of book recommendations on the Moodle, basically our library from home, right? But there's some really, really great books that will help you connect with nature. Things to start off with your lesson plans, to enhance your lesson plans, to get out and start your day with. I also just came out with a couple other ones that I'd like to highlight that aren't on my list yet because I just got them. So Shaping Up Summer. This is a really fun book that we just got that's all, I love the shapes and the different things that they highlight in this book, all about, being outside and what do you see when you're outside. Some things from the built environment, some things that are natural. And then also Counting on Fall. This is a fun book. I just kind of stumbled across. And this one's neat because it has a lot of different numbers. It's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is monarch butterflies hibernating in the tree, and you count by tens, and there's 100, right? So bigger numbers, right? Things, because in nature, there's a lot of big numbers. Or counting in different ways, estimating, right? How many of these different things do you see? And kind of getting those sense of grandeur almost. So again, kind of instilling that curiosity and thinking outside the box and thinking bigger. That is what I had for you tonight. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will turn back on my chat so I can see. And then I think Kelly also has, the name of the second book is Counting on Fall. There we go.
And the whole list of those is in the Moodle, right, Carly?
Yeah, I'll add these as well, because like I said, I just got these. So these two are not in the Moodle, but I will add them to it because these are two really fun books too. All right, so Kelly, you have our raffle.
Yes, one last raffle. Does anybody have any more questions? And Carly,
yeah,
did you say a lot you got Usborne books? Are these a lot of Usborne books? Not to promote that company,
actually, these
but
aren't.
Okay.
That I
Forget
have
that I said that.
Yeah. These ones that I have in the recommendations, a lot of these, gosh, I got these from all over the place. So yeah, these aren't just Usborne books. But if you do have any questions about Usborne books, I do sell those as well. So yes, I love Usborne books. So there's some really great ones that they have as well. Just so many great books. So I will add some more to my book recommendation list.
Awesome. Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead. And if you want, you can direct message me. Carly, if you could unshare, and then I can do my last wheel.
Yes. How do I unshare?
Stop. At the top, there should be a stop share. A little red. Yep.
There it is. I got it.
Okay. One last wheel, right? It's like the Wheel of Fortune. How about this? Does everybody see it?
Yep.
Okay. One last spin. Ready?
My name's not in here and I'm real sad about it.
I know. I did think about you ladies. Oh, Linda's not here right now, so we're going to spin again.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Linda. She is.
Your opportunity is still there, folks.
She was. Stephanie, is she still here? I don't think she's here either. I had to put everybody's name on here because it keeps track. So I do apologize. There's like 5 people who aren't here. How about there's not here either. Sorry, hold on one moment.
We're getting the bang of for their buck out of this wheel of names here.
Angelica's here.
Yay!
Okay, so you don't even know what you're gonna win yet. So just so Angelica knows, she is going to win a membership to EEAI plus the nature circles. So I'm going to write that down. And I thank you everyone for coming today. And I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday. So thank you all. If you have any questions, you can stay on really quick if you want to have any comments. But we will see you Thursday. So have a good night. Oh, so Kathy, right? Oh, I guess she doesn't need me. Marissa, I can talk to you really quick. I'm going to send the your prize through. Well, I can send it to you or I can give it to Susie, I guess. It's probably easier. I'll just send it. So I'm going to send it directly to you. So we have we have your address, right?
I had emailed it to you. I know I still don't have like my book or anything because
you're gonna
I
get
haven't seen Susie.
Yeah, you're gonna get on Thursday.
I know, or possibly, it's either gonna be Thursday or possibly tomorrow. But the problem is I don't work at the nature center on Thursday, so I just still don't know how I'm gonna get it. It's gonna go to the nature center, but I don't know how I'm getting it. So.
Well, just know that Natalie's going to go through it and she'll walk. I mean, it was basically like tonight. So you'll get the gist and have it being displayed and everything. So, and if you would need it before Saturday though.
I was thinking that too. And like the last day I work at the nature center this week is tomorrow. And then
maybe I can send you a copy of an activity. What do you think of that?
That would be fine. I mean, I have a code I can get in. So like, even if it's after hours, I can get there. The problem is that they're going to close the gate before I get off work at my other job on Thursday. So I'm going to have to go unlock the gate.
I'll send you an activity. Because that's like when I talked to Susie, her schedule wasn't crazy. And then it got crazy. So I will send you an activity.
Okay.
By like, you know what might be easier is if I text it to you. Is that a problem?
That's fine.
Like photo? Okay, so what is your phone number?
708.
Okay.
372.
Okay.
0380.
Okay. Sorry about that, Marissa. I thought I was, trying to save us some money and time and everything. And I was like going to be just smooth sailing. And of course, that's not how it is. So, but we'll get you there. Okay.
Yeah. Cause like we talked and it was like last Sunday, I think was the last time me and her worked together. And she was like, man, I'm not going to see you again till like the 29th.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. We'll figure it out. I think the easiest thing is if I just text it to you and then you can, just look at it and grab what you need from that.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
All right, sorry about that.
It's
It'll work
okay.
out though, okay?
It will, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll see you Thursday.
Thank you. See you then.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Abby, are you there?
Hello.
Hey, did you want to stop recording?
Is it over?
Yes.
I can do that. And then I think it will. Did you have it recorded to the cloud or to my computer?
I don't know that. I think it was my computer.
Okay. How did it go? How'd Carly's part go?
I think it was good. I thought she was going to have us actually like do the activity, and she just kind of introduced it. So I think that's kind of important because, like